My husband believes running pizza underwater to cool it down is acceptable. Pretty much what the title says. Not my opinion, but my husband's. In college, my husband and I would make oven pizzas, and he would run his slices under the water fountain to cool it down faster. He says it didn't change the taste and was still good. I gotta say, if you're still married to this man, you might want to consider a life change. I'm kidding, obviously. Come on, you know me. But what the hell, man? I've seen people use water in, like, competitive eating, but I didn't know people out there would just... Never mind. News should be a dry recitation, I'm an idiot, of facts. If it isn't, then it's an opinion intended to stir your emotions into clouding your judgment. It's so hard to find a news outlet that will just present the information without spin, without trying to push you one way or the other. I just want to know what happened, so I can decide whether I like it or not. Why is it so hard to find? Quit telling me what to think. I'm sick to death of hearing about the United States of America. I couldn't care any less about that country. Dude, same though. Every time I open my phone, I look at a newspaper, watch TV, or go onto my computer. All I see is news about the U.S. I don't give a crap about that country. It's infuriating. I couldn't care less about who is running the USA any more than I care about who's running Zimbabwe or Denmark. I smell a Canadian. Yeah, that's right. Smells like Canadian bacon up in here. Stop letting 23-year-olds on the internet convince you to end your marriage. 23-year-olds? I mean, that's pretty much it, but if you post about your problem in your marriage or with substance abuse or difficult parents, for the love of God, get a second opinion from an actual professional who will tell you that, fun fact, your husband not making you a sandwich is not spousal abuse. Yeah, for sure. Look, everyone should be able to talk to a professional about these issues, maybe a really close friend, stuff like that. That's why if I'm ever doling out advice, I make sure to mention, hey, do not listen to me, by the way. I am not a professional, and it would be just as irresponsible for you to take what I have to say to heart as asking random people on the internet what you should do. Because it's the same thing. I'm a random person on the internet. I'd much rather let a 13-year-old play Doom or Resident Evil than them to have a social media app and actively engage with strangers. Yeah, I can see that. I hope this doesn't come off as an, I don't understand this new social media thing, so I hate it and think it's gonna rot my kid's brain. If my kids want to play single-player games, even if they have gore, horror, sex scenes, alright, the sex scenes part, probably not, though, you know? I don't mind letting them play these games because I trust my ability to guide them and to point out and explain any potential problematic areas. But with social media, things are totally different. While Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat still let you just engage with your friends, many others just open up to the public and anyone can engage. Things like Discord, Twitter, and pretty much everything. Comment sections under an online video and online game voice lobbies. Knowing that behind those aren't codes and pixels but real human beings makes me uncomfortable. Not to say that we should just ban social media, but that anything that just opens up to the public should have a 17+ tag on it. Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from. iPhone shouldn't change keyboard layout ever, like it does with Twitter or typing in the address bar on Safari. Why have I not noticed that happening? Whenever the keyboard layout changes, like entering a web address or on Twitter, for example, it makes me have more errors since they often shorten the spacebar or add keys where they normally shouldn't be. I have to go back and type slower, so I make sure I press space in a different area and causes more mistakes and takes longer than just one extra click to get special symbols or punctuation. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Sorry, I was a little bit confused at first. Malls and movie theaters need to make a comeback. Probably not the best title, but I was at a mall earlier, and it was kind of dead. Yeah, pre-2019 it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't on the level it is today. The food court I went to only had 2 open restaurants. Movie theaters used to be an experience, and now hardly anyone goes anymore. We need to boycott streaming services with their ever-rising prices. Why did I say rising? That's not right. Rising prices and ads. Same with Amazon, which I feel killed the mall concept per se. Amazon isn't even good anymore. I agree. Employees, I hear, are treated terribly, and you hardly ever get your stuff on time, let alone in good condition. We all need to revive malls and theaters. As a teen, I loved walking around the mall with my friends and going to a movie on a random Wednesday and seeing more than 10 seats filled. Once again, stop giving your money to Amazon, Netflix, Disney, CBS, Paramount, HBO, you name it. You know, I do understand to a certain degree bringing a mall back because it is a space that people should be able to go to Stay out of trouble. Maybe hang around Hot Topic. You don't have to buy anything necessarily, but mall rats were mall rats for a reason, all right? It was a pretty all-right place to hang out. If a police chief coordinates a no-knock house raid and they go to the wrong house, they should be charged with whatever happens. Like breaking and entering, assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, first-degree murder, terrorism, etc. The coordinating police chief in charge of the raid should be held responsible for whatever happens. Dune Part 2 is a hot mess. Please tell me you don't spoil anything. As someone who has loved the book for 40 years, and as someone who was really looking forward to Part 2 based on the greatness of 1, this movie is a steaming dumpster fire of insane editing and unfinished threads that is 3 hours of nonsense. And I won't even go into the wild departures from the book. I don't know. There's nothing inherently wrong with departures from the original source material to a certain extent. Look at the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Do you know how much is completely freaking missing? Even if schools taught you how to do taxes or other life skills, not many of you would pay attention. Let's be honest. Most of you barely pay attention in geometry. Yeah, because that's the same thing. How many of you will honestly say you'll pay attention while they teach you how to do your taxes or explain to you how to cook or sew? How many of you will pay attention while they explain to you how to change oil or how to do quick fixes around the home until you can get a professional? Not many of you, and thus would make the classes null and void. Also, how many of you would actually sign up for these classes if they were offered? They were always full. This is just my experience. Might have been completely different for you guys, but nonetheless, because a lot of my classmates wanted Japanese and German as foreign language classes instead of the standard Spanish and French. And of those 50 students that petitioned for the classes, only 3 signed up. It's funny that you mentioned you were only given 2. At my school, we had all 4. Telling a guy to just be confident as dating advice is like telling a depressed person to just cheer up. If I could just be confident, don't you think I would be already? I hate being nervous around new people, but I can't just decide to not be. I already understand how important confidence is. I can't explain why I don't have any because I don't know. A depressed person may want to cheer up, but they just can't will themselves happy. There's more to it. This is how I feel about it. I know I can't be the only one. I edit blah 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 awards. A lot of people are saying fake it till you make it. That advice also feels dumb. If I knew how to fake being confident, isn't that just being confident? Even if I do not feel confident, acting like I do requires me to know what the hell I'm doing. It's like when I try to talk to somebody I just met, lock up, and can't think of anything to say. I make some meek greetings before withdrawing from the conversation into myself. I know this is an issue, but don't know how to get around it. If I just knew how to get past that hurdle, then I wouldn't have an issue with confidence. I'd be able to just talk to people. Fake it till you make it falls into the same pitfall. If I could, I already would. Airplane loading is dumb. I'm all for getting handicapped, senior citizens, veterans, and first class on board before everyone else, but the main cabin seating is so dumb. Groups in the back of the plane need to go first so we can load everyone quickly and accordingly. Such a dumb setup. It's all about overhead bin space. The cheapest tickets in the back go on last because they might not get a place for their bags. What they should be doing is loading using a rear door, but that would require extensive jetways. That is also true, yeah. I think I went into the back of a plane one time, but that was climbing up from the tarmac on the stairs. If you gave a pill to overweight people that made them magically wake up at their ideal body weight, they would take that pill. I love my body the way it is just insecure posturing. If Lizzo could look like Gabrielle Union, that is how you say her name, right? She would. If James Corden could look like Ryan, who? He would. I realize everyone's body is different, but being overweight is over what your weight should be for your body. This changes for every person. Full disclosure, I'm about 60 pounds overweight, and I'm including myself in the statement. I don't like the way I look and feel, but I'm not out here like, I love my curves. Now cue all the anecdotal medical anomaly rebuttals. I mean, there's not really much I can say personally. I think I'm within a normal weight range for my height, like 200 pounds, 6'3". I think I wear it okay. I hate my body the way it is. Sign me the hell up. That's the spirit. If you need a wheelchair due to your weight, it should be mandatory that it is a manual chair rather than a power chair. God damn it. Seriously, this needs to stop. So many people with nothing wrong with them other than gluttony and laziness. So many people walk into Walmart, plop their asses in the chairs that are for older people and cripples. I'm sorry, man, you don't have to say it like that. You can just say persons with disabilities or someone who is disabled. You don't have to say for older people and cripples. Jeez, man. Then just leave them in the middle of the parking lot, like the waste of space and resources that they are. Let's be upfront and honest. You don't get to be 500 pounds due to genetics. 95% of people you see that are that size on a daily basis had nothing wrong with them before turning into a drain on society. Good Lord, who hurt you? I can see where you're coming from. Come on, just calm down a little bit. What the hell? You don't need to love your career. You just need to be able to tolerate it so you can finance doing what you love. That I can completely understand. Don't find fulfillment in your career. Find fulfillment in the hobbies you have, adventures you go on, and people you help because you have the financial freedom to do so. If you love your job, that's awesome, but this isn't realistic for many people. I do kind of agree with that one. Screw you if you record yourself giving things to homeless people. You see it all over the internet these days. Is it still happening? People recording themselves giving food or money or whatever to homeless people. All it is for these people is a personal boost, a way to get views on the internet and make themselves feel important. I think these actions should be shot down, not praised and receive 10 million video views. If you're really this good person you claim to be, you would give the homeless or give to the homeless, give to shelters, help people, and not tell anyone else about it. It's that simple. Edit. I don't think people should stop giving to the homeless altogether, just stop recording it. In my eyes, it's just another thing that proves how crappy people are. Instead of giving because they care about their fellow human, they're doing it strictly for the image. Restaurants that have pictures of their dishes on the menu are awesome and should totally be normalized. Whenever I hear someone talk about a restaurant where the menus have pictures of the food on them, they talk about it as if it's a red flag. BS! I want to see pictures of what food I am going to order, or rather what it's going to look like. It's so much easier to decide what you want to eat that way. Oh, and I don't understand how people can think that it's tacky. Then look at the food at the table next to them and be like, ooh, that looks good. Then ask the other table what they ordered so they can order the same thing. I don't care if it makes me seem like a dumb, small-minded person. I want to see more pictures of food. It rules. I guess for me, it really always came down to how well the menu was designed. Like when I go to IHOP, no problem. Gorgeous menu, photos everywhere, real simple shit. Going to Mars is a mistake. Oh, what do you know? Exploring Mars appears misguided. There's little to gain for humanity. How do you know that? And diverting resources towards such a pursuit seems unjustified. Despite its similarities in solar days and gravity to Earth, the potential benefits don't seem compelling enough. Additionally, the idea of terraforming another planet feels like an unattainable fantasy. Kind of is. My doubts arise about undisclosed information or the adequacy of our scientific understanding. Comparing our rovers to the Russian probing of Venus highlights its questionable nature. Sending numerous scientists and civilians to Mars risks turning the mission into a tragic spectacle like a reality show. It's troubling to envision watching them die and then see our government hail them as heroes. It's essential to address our challenges on Earth before putting on the big boy pants and tackling another world while God holds our beer. Historically, jumping the gun is what humanity has always been about, so why wouldn't a Martian venture be? I've always understood to a certain degree people that whine and complain about space exploration and shit like that, but the amount of money that, say, the US government spends on NASA is a goddamn embarrassing fraction in comparison to a lot of stuff. Digital copies of games should be far cheaper than physical copies. The company is avoiding the following costs by selling digitally: sourcing materials, manufacturing, shipping, shelf space, employee wages. Yet it still costs the same price as a digital copy. Anyone who buys digital is absolutely being scammed. That's actually why at first I was very annoyed that Alan Wake 2 was not going to be getting a physical release. I'm still somewhat annoyed and sad because it's not really yours. You have a license for a certain amount of time and they could probably rip it away from you whenever they want. You know me, I'm a physical copy guy. However, Remedy did have a good point. Their game shipped at a $50 price tag rather than $70 like a lot of AAA games in that space. It's nice to see. That did help. And no, a game that cost over 75 million euros should not be $12 because they didn't make physical copies. You need to remember how all of this is really stacked up. It should be illegal for a company to list an entry-level job as requiring 3 to 5 years experience. The very definition of an entry-level job is no experience needed. Yeah, that absolutely. Graduates and school leavers already have an extremely hard time finding work in today's economy, most of which are forced to do jobs that had nothing to do with their fields because companies are too lazy to train and too cheap to offer training. They always want some other company to train them. Also, if you require 3 to 5 years experience when the salary of those jobs should be considerably higher and not the basic entry-level salary, they just want more for less. So long as your qualifications meet the required job, they should be considered. Automakers should stop replacing buttons with massive touchscreens. absolutely. Quit trying to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. It's getting kind of dangerous. Yeah, sure, it's futuristic and all, but a lot of them are just becoming a hassle and a hazard. I shouldn't have to spam tap a screen, oh, that's weird, to change the climate controls, whereas a dial would be so much simpler and easy to use. The screens are basically impossible to use with gloves on if you live in a colder place, and frankly, most automakers just suck at making them. They're super laggy and hard to use. Cars can still look modern with a clean button and dial interior setup, and perhaps a smaller screen to display information. The infotainment system should not have to constantly take the driver's attention off the road. It reminds me of, all of the Tesla models now have a goddamn pair of buttons for the turning signals? When every car, that's ever really had them has had the goddamn lever on the side. Significantly easier. It's built into our goddamn brains. Everyone knows about that unless you're a BMW driver. One of the biggest failings of modern education is managing to convince a whole generation that Wikipedia is an unreliable source. Wikipedia is a practically unlimited source of free knowledge which is constantly being monitored by an army of nerds. The fact that we do not have to pay for access is a miracle. Nearly enough, every article has a full and reliable list of references at the bottom. I understand that students should be encouraged to use the references at the bottom for true research, but this is not taught. Students are simply told, stay away from Wikipedia, anyone can change it, it's completely unreliable. I was indeed taught that growing up. For the most part, they actually did allow us a little bit of leeway. That's not how that word works. Leeway, in that they will allow one source to be Wikipedia. We can use Wikipedia as one source, and then we would have to find others on our own, or, even though they didn't teach it, of course, going to the source list at the bottom, and you could just kind of work from there. Y'all is a brilliant use of the English language, and I refuse to be told otherwise. I'm British from a small town in the middle of England. Nobody ever says y'all here, and I don't get why. When I first heard the word, I thought it was stupid, but the older I get, the more and more I realize how much I would easily use y'all in everyday life. I'm a manager in my office, so I often have to refer to multiple people at a time. You all or you lot or all of you is fine for now, but can come off quite harsh. I've now rotated y'all into the mix, and it just fits so well. Soft, comes out friendly, everyone knows what I mean, it rolls off the tongue nicely, and I get to put that sweet southern accent on when I say it. I think we should all adapt to it because honestly, it works. Damn straight, okay? Just like over here in the US, we should be using in it. I don't know what for, we'll figure something out. Middle-aged guys don't buy sports cars because they're having a midlife crisis. It's because they can finally afford the car they want. I hate hearing people say, oh, he bought a Corvette because he's balding and needs to feel younger. No. As someone who's never earned much money because I made the spectacular decision to do what I love rather than what was lucrative, I'm finally in a position in my late 30s where I can actually save up and buy a dream car. I get it if cars aren't important to you. I get it if you dislike the impact they have on the environment. I get it if you think sports cars are too expensive and a hassle. I get it if you see a 40-something guy in a BMW M3 and assume he's compensating for something. But realize that automotive enthusiasm is a huge part of life for a lot of people and can often be the biggest connection they have to family members or friends. As a car enthusiast, I look forward to increased electrification for a lower carbon footprint and ridiculous torque for acceleration. I accept that my budget will have to increase for a cool exotic car and decrease for other pursuits. It's worth it to me. Just like you might enjoy collecting stamps or having a closet full of nice clothes, it's always the first thing I talk about when I call my dad since he used to race cars and motorcycles in the 70s. We bond over cars and car news. So the next time you see some guy with graying temples and a widow's peak driving a Ferrari, understand it might be the realization of a dream from childhood and try to, not crap on that dream because it's not your dream. Kids who succeed academically deserve scholarships more than kids who are good at sports. Do they not also get scholarships? Come on. People who work their asses off have to struggle more. So then people who are good at a sport? It's just like how doctors are paid less than NBA players. One saves lives, the other plays basketball competitively. Well, you have to remember. I feel like your point kind of got a little bit lost there near the end. Yeah, they do often get paid more. And it's because they're so good at something that they draw in hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. Not personally, of course, but they're a big name that draws a shit ton of money. As a health coworker, I find clapping extremely cringy. This is literally our job. Stop glorifying us. As the title says, I'm so sick of this virtue signaling on social media in cities where everyone is clapping and praising us. When you apply to medical school, you apply to these terms, and it's just our job. Sure, it's tiresome and the situation isn't really great, but still, a lot of my coworkers are pumping their ego with this and enjoying the attention. I don't. Okay, that's fine. They can have a good time with it, and you cannot. I applaud you speaking the truth on this issue. Stop it, you're scaring him! It's totally okay to play video games on the easiest setting to enjoy the storyline. Oh yeah, 3000%. I've been getting so much grief from my gamer friends for playing games on easy mode. They're calling me not a true gamer because I don't play on hard. I just want to enjoy a game for the storyline and not get frustrated by dying endless times for not being able to defeat a boss or making a simple mistake. Does that make me less of a gamer? Of course not. No. See, what people that get on their high horse regarding hard difficulty don't understand is that the game was designed with all of these difficulties in mind. I always eat dessert before dinner at a restaurant. When at a restaurant, waiting staff always find it weird when I order the dessert before the appetizer and the main course. They ask, oh, is that all you're having? I'm like, no, I just want my cheesecake first, please. I have to convince them that I'm just a dessert first kind of guy. I feel like the main course is much more enjoyable when your dopamine levels are boosted. I could see that. I could also not really see many server staff going, what? Like, I really don't think they care. Super sharp straight hairlines aren't as good looking as less sharp. What's a sharp hairline? What? Super sharp hairlines are very masculine, and I see the appeal, but a hairline that isn't just a single line are better. I'm not talking about receding hairlines or thinning hair. A sharp hairline only really matters for short haircuts, and even combed or slicked back haircuts look better. If they aren't completely straight, many people can achieve what appears to be a sharp hairline with just a line up or bringing a few hair strands down and cutting a line, but they rarely look good. Hairlines that are almost triangle shaped, sort of like a widow's peak but not male pattern baldness, look better the majority of the time. They look more natural and relaxed while being less intimidating. My hairline's quite straight, but it only looks better than not straight hairlines as a buzz cut, but sometimes not even that. I think I know what you're talking about. 100% agreed. I have nothing against sharp hairlines, they just don't look as good to me. And I love widow's peak, I wish I had it. It just expands the number of hairstyles you can pull off. Which category does no hairline fall into? S tier. Why is everyone suddenly talking about hairlines? I even heard some kids talking about it. What the hell? Because I'm pretty sure male pattern baldness is getting worse and affecting people younger and younger and younger, and soon we're just not going to have any damn hair. Vanilla is not plain, it is a flavor, and it's a damn good one too. I always hate being teased for ordering vanilla ice cream or buying a vanilla cake. No, vanilla is not plain, it is a flavor, and there is such a thing as plain ice cream. Nasty, by the way. If anything, chocolate's more plain than vanilla since literally everything can be chocolate. Can that not happen with vanilla? Anyway, I know what you mean. Vanilla is always used as a baseline to describe something that's boring because it is so popular. Vanilla is like the #1 ice cream flavor on the goddamn planet, so of course we're going to use it as a sort of euphemism, I guess, for boring or standard or plain. Yakult is the best drink out there? Yakult? What is that? Yakult is the best drink out there due to its health benefits and incredible taste. Not only does it provide benefits for your immune system and digestive health, but its sweet, tangy, and heavenly taste, which is not from this earth. It should be drunk multiple times a day, any time of day, and for any occasion. I am not going to look that up. That was an ad? What do you, huh? The health benefits of fermented milk products are not zero, but they are vastly oversold by the manufacturers. The health dangers of sugars are significant and are very much glossed over by manufacturers. If you want tangy fermented milk products, have a glass of whatever that is. The reason your opinion is unpopular is that it's factually incorrect. There's lots of affordable housing. Go look at majority-minority communities. What did you just say? Never mind, it doesn't matter. And you'll see tons of housing units that are affordable. Homes in decent condition for $100,000 to $200,000. You sure about that? Homes in more rural areas or industrial areas for even less. The problem is all the entitled people out there who expect fancy homes in nicer, whiter areas to be cheap. Like, that's not how supply and demand work. Okay. You are absolutely taking nothing into mind when it comes to these cheaper houses that you speak of. I've never seen a home that's $100,000 that's in decent condition. That is not a mobile home or pre-manufactured home that you have to pay rent on forever. Some people don't want to live next to crack houses. Or in the middle of nowhere with the nearest job opportunities 3 hours away. Yeah. I'm so sick and tired of people pulling this bullshit. Sorry, this one gets me a little bit heated. As someone who will never be able to buy a home, really ever, in the United States, fuck you.